Oh man. All right, Shy, let's do it. What's
All
going on,
right.
Shy?
Oh, not much. I'm just kind of sitting here thinking about slang terms and the ones that you decide to rock with forever versus the new ones that you hear and decide to use versus the ones that you hear and you're like, I'll never use that. That's stupid.
What's the slang term you're currently like juggling like that?
Well, okay. So I was thinking about um, down bad
Okay.
and how that is pretty much exactly what it means. Someone was down bad. I didn't want to assume, but I was thinking, well, that just must mean they're in kind of a bad way.
Right.
And I think that is indeed what it means, from what I'm seeing and hearing. But the reason I questioned myself was because it came after no cap.
Right.
And I guess when the people are saying no cap, they're saying like no lie. So cap or capping is lying.
Correct.
And that shit makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I've had people try to explain no cat, and it never seems like the right thing. Like it always seems like they're lying. Um like
Right,
I
exactly.
understand what it means because it's been told to me, but there's no like I can't see the like what's the term, like if I was in a spelling bee, like give me the origin. I don't see the origin of no cap. Um yeah, like the closest I've come is just my own theories, but I know those are made up. Like it's me myself, like in my head, just thinking things through. Like I thought it was like women responding to bald men on like dating apps. Like they're like, no cap, you're lying, you're actually bald.
Huh.
Take off the cap. Prove to me that you have hair. Otherwise, you're lying about having hair.
So you're at least trying to come up with some sort of backstory.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure. I think we've discussed our feelings on say less.
yeah,
Um, like I get it, but it still sounds a little aggressive.
yeah. I feel it's rude. But yeah, like
Yeah.
I thought like slang growing up, I felt like it served the dual purpose of it says it in less words or less syllables,
Mm-hmm.
and there is like an origin, like it makes sense, you know. Like when people said one, it was at the end of a conversation. It was like it was short for 100, and 100 meant complete, you know.
Oh, I
So
had heard that it was short for one love, which
and
was a way to end a conversation.
right, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Either origin makes sense to me. Like
Uh-huh.
I can kind of see the circle of logic there. I don't know what capping has to do with telling the truth or a lie. I don't get that. Um, I understand say less, but that just seems like it's not serving the first purpose because now you're reducing it in a way that changes the tension of the conversation. To your
Right.
point, it sounds aggressive now. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm a peaceful guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I'm being dismissed when you say less.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fine, and I won't say anything at all. But actually, you might have to say a little bit
You got to
more.
clarify now. Yeah. And down
Yeah.
bad gives me that kind of energy. Like I feel like it. I don't think it's a negative connotation, but it sounds like it to me. Like when I hear down bad, I'm thinking like, oh, like you need money, like everything okay, like what how can I help you? Like I don't like I don't understand. I feel like the phrase is like I don't know. It changes the feeling behind the word.
Right. I was thinking about the way that I even got here was I was thinking about the song Sorry by Beyonce. And she has the line in it um, where she says, I don't give a fuck, chucking my deuces up, suck on my balls, pause, I've had enough. And I was just thinking about pause in general,
Right.
uh, how that was another way of saying no homo.
Right.
and how no homo wasn't ideal, um, because it was, homophobic. And
Right.
so can't really use that. Like, what are you worried about? But so then pause was used for a while.
Right.
And it made me sad when pause was used to replace this homophobic slang, because I like the idea of saying pause in the middle of something you're saying for clarity. Like,
I like that.
pause right there. What are you talking about? And
Uh,
not in some homophobic way, but in some like, what? Uh, and it's just a better way of saying what. And I miss the possibility of that, because it was so closely linked to no homo, and I was like, that's a shame. I think we really missed something with we really missed some possibilities with pause.
An opportunity
Yeah,
gone.
we really did. We missed an opportunity with pause, I thought. And then I just kind of got to thinking about other slang. And I also was just kind of thinking about why she even was saying pause when it's the term is so, like, it's based on like homophobia, but like in an extremely masculine way.
Right.
And then I was like, that feels like either she was like making fun of the use of it in general, which is possible. Like making fun of dudes who would say something like "suck on my balls," pause.
Okay.
So she put it in that line, like making fun of dudes who would put that in lyrics or something, or somebody suggested it to her, like some dude suggested it and she used it, but they're coming from different places, or I don't know. But I just kind of got wrapped up in it, and then I was like, well, we didn't get to use pause the way that I think we should have been using pause. And then I got to think about what terms are we using that I
Oh.
don't understand, and I'm just like, no, I won't rock with. But but for the most part, in almost everything, in almost every version of slang that comes out, every new generation that comes out with their own words, I usually find at least one thing that I'm like, I like that. I don't feel like an idiot saying that,
Right.
and I understand it. And I just wonder what it's going to be for me.
I still have
Because
hope.
yeah, I don't think I found it yet, but I mean, I feel like it's there. Down bad doesn't feel right. Say less doesn't feel right.
No.
Uh, Cap doesn't even feel real.
So Beyonce says down bad, and she says pause as well?
Well, no, she said pause in that song "Sorry" from a few years ago,
Okay.
off of the Lemonade album.
I always wonder, because
But
like
but
to
I don't
me,
think
like,
she says down bad in it.
okay.
I think down bad is a relatively new thing. Um, probably over the past it. I feel like I've only kind of started seeing it like used somewhat regularly over the past 6 to 8 months. So it's probably actually been like a year,
Okay.
you know?
We're catching up. We getting there. It's all good.
Yeah, we're trying. Whereas, I didn't really like no cap, and now I just see people saying capping, and half the time they're spelling it wrong. So I'm like, they're caping. And that's what I thought they were talking about before, because I kind of liked caping, like, oh, why are you caping for this person? I loved that. But
That
now people are just misspelling capping and saying you're capping, and I'm like, wait, but you mean it like you're lying? Oh, you kids.
I gotta say, caping's kind of dope. You right.
Oh, I love caping a lot.
Caping is good.
Yeah, like why are you I usually like things where it's, why are you being so extra for someone who doesn't even know you exist?
Yeah.
Usually the terms that come out to explain that I enjoy. Like I have, which is funny because I don't actually do that thing. So I like the term stan since we got to it from the song Stan, because
Yeah.
because that song is very sinister, and to have this term, I thought was kind of great, even though I'm not, I don't stan, and I don't trust the standing culture.
Right,
Um,
right.
Caping for someone is great, but I don't really do that. I just, I don't know. I just like it. Being a Captain Save-A-Ho, I love that term,
Yeah.
but that's not me in any way.
I'm loving all of this. I love
Yeah.
like Stan was always cool to me because everyone knew what you meant, but
Hmm.
I like that the origin was like roundabout, right? Because it comes from the meaning of the Eminem song, but
Hmm.
it didn't become a term that was used until Nas used it in Ether.
Wait,
Like
was Ether before or after the song
it
Stan?
was after, but like he referenced it and like he called Jay-Z a stan. And that's the first time it occurred to people, oh, we can now use that as a diss. So like up until that point, Stan was just the name of a brilliant Eminem song. And it was roughly like, 6 months to a year later that
Hmm.
he said that. So it changed from it being a good song to it being like a verb, like you standing, so
Right.
like he put it, he took a song that was in the zeitgeist and made it like part of the lexicon. I thought that was
Right.
dope.
But even then, it still had sinister meaning.
Yeah.
But at some point, it became like, a much more positive thing. People were proud about being stands or standing for someone. And
Yeah.
then I think if you ask those people, hey, where did the term stand come from? I'm seeing, younger folks who are just like, oh, it stands for super fan. And I'm like,
Whoa.
mm, well, yes,
Nah, those
but
guys wear jerseys and that's where it stops. uh,
yeah, like, okay. I mean, you're not wrong, but there's a thing, you know.
yeah, that's way off. Okay.
Anywho, that's kind of what's been going through my brain um today.
I love the rabbit holes that is Shalewa's thought
Yeah,
process. This
that's
is
just,
dope.
when you just kind of sing a song to yourself and then 20 minutes later you're like, "But what does down bad mean?" to no one. You're just screaming that in your house to no one.
Oh man, I love all of this. I really do hope that Beyonce is secretly saying pause to mess with people that used it, just
I
cause.
do too, because the other way that it could be construed is a little weird. It's a little weird if she means it in the way. Also, it's just to me it's so, I mean, if a man were to say suck on my balls,
Right.
but just suck on my balls, and then say pause or no homo, I would go, that's no fair. You didn't address that to a particular gender. It was an open invitation.
Fair. Yeah.
You can't be picky now.
Yeah. My argument against it was like, if your issue was the fact that this was a gay act and at the time it was a issue to come out as gay, so I like you had reservations with being acknowledged as gay. If this is genuinely how you felt and you were trying to convey, hey, I'm not gay despite the previous wording, why
Mm.
would you stop the action to emphasize it? I'm like, keep going. Like, don't, like, if there's a part of a movie that I don't like, I fast forward. I don't pause. I don't
Right.
look at it
Yeah,
more.
you don't have to put the disclaimer right after the
Yeah.
thing. Either trust that we can roll with you and we understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
That to me is, maybe less homophobic than stopping everything to go, not me though.
Right.
Like,
I'm like,
well,
okay. Nobody was thinking it till you said it, but now
till
that
you
you bring
said
it up.
something. Yeah. So
And I also like the idea that, like, because the origins of pause to me, like, publicly are Jay-Z. So like I love the idea that like Beyonce is just like, on the low, like just needling him, like, yeah, you said this nonsense back in the day, you freaking idiot. And
Yeah.
like
I prefer that than to her writing it and him being in there and going, what would be hot, suck on my balls, pause or whatever. And she's like, yeah, okay, that fits.
like, sure, honey, I'll let you. I'll take this one bar. This
Yeah, you're not getting a songwriting credit, but
nah.
I'll let you. Especially, but I mean, I guess it probably would be more of a dig since that song, perhaps, since that was on the album, that perhaps pertained to their marital woes.
It can make sense.
Yeah, it could make sense for her to be like, here's a way I could stick it to him, along with Becky with the good hair. And even if I'm not talking about him, everyone's going to assume I'm talking about him because, I mean, who else am I going to be talking about? Omarion?
Oh,
so,
man.
yeah.
Well done, Beyonce. Yeah. I love seeing how billionaire couples handle their issues.
Yeah, in front of us with a lot of money. They do it in front of us with a lot of money.
That's just
depending on how good they are, they either wind it into their art, they make it part of their art, and if they're not very good, then they just buy a thing.
There you go.
So I prefer the art way.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it too. I tell Gabby all the time, you gotta treat me good, otherwise you're gonna be in all my specials the wrong way. Like,
she already knows she's in all your specials.
I didn't know what to talk about. So I hang out with you. It is what it is. She's my peoples.
Yeah, she knows. So that's probably. I mean, does she even really watch them, or is she just like, I've heard enough out of you?
Yeah, nah. Like Gabby comes to like 2 to 3 shows a year max.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I know your spiel. Like, I see you every day. None of this is new to me. I was there when the thing happened. Like, whatever you talk about on stage, I saw it. I was there. You probably talked to me about it afterward when it wasn't so funny. It was just you just complaining. So I want to hear it in front of people.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, man. Support comes in different ways, people.
It really does. It really does.
Oh, man. Let's get into the news, Sha.
All right.
Kicking us off, Britney Spears post support for Black Lives Matter, and some followers were pissed. You want to take the lead on this, Shot? This was actually one of your submissions.
I saw it, and it was kind of trending on Twitter, and I was just like, well, I wonder what the issue is. So Britney Spears is getting behind the Black Lives Matter movement, seemingly the first time she's spoken out about the issue. But some social media followers think she's crossed a line. Lord. The singer posted an image on Monday of a black man wearing a mask and holding a sign that reads, "White people have generational wealth. Black people have generational trauma. Hashtag we are not the same. Hashtag BLM. Brit captioned the post, too, with just saying, and the BLM and Black Lives Matter hashtags. So, great. Let's face it, Britney doesn't typically weigh in on anything political, social, or controversial besides her conservatorship.
Right.
Sure. She usually keeps her IG posts pretty light, and while the change had most of her fans applauding her apparent stance, others ripped her for what they saw as, quote, profiling, end quote. Huh? And pointed out many white people don't have generational wealth. One Brit follower reportedly begged, quote, "Please don't go down this rabbit hole," end quote. Okay. And as you might expect, some of the Free Britney faithful took her BLM post as a sign that she and her social media are being controlled.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, so one question is, so now if you think that the people who have been in charge of her money and been telling her where to go and what to do are controlling her social media, do you think they would go for Black Lives Matter? Like, do you think people who are like, who worked this girl to the bone after she explicitly said, I don't want my dad in charge of my money.
Right.
He's in charge of the money. He's with other folks. They basically give her an allowance. They had her working in Vegas. She can't do anything in her name. She has no control over anything. But you think these same people are probably going to be like, yeah, Black Lives Matter. That feels off to me.
People are layered, yo. They're complicated, Sha.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, I personally like where that many celebrities, white ones, have posted some sort of support of Black Lives Matter. And it's usually on some old, these are our brothers and sisters, and let's hold hands, and we all are one, and all this other kind of bullshit. But she went real specific with generational wealth versus generational trauma.
Word.
I'm like, yo, that's one of the B-sides of Black. You know what I mean? That's not one of the hit singles of Black Lives Matter.
Right.
That's like that's an album cut. And for that to be the thing that resonated with her, I think is kind of great.
Yeah, I was impressed. What impressed me was twofold. Like, one, to your point, exactly what you said, that's the one she chose to emphasize. And B, she gets criticized a lot for kind of like being like teeny bop and not necessarily being involved with these issues. For someone that's called out like that, a lot of white celebs could kind of look at this as this is the right way to support. Like, instead of trying to get across your feelings on our issue, share someone else who's explaining their feelings on their issue. Like, she didn't give her interpretation of this. She just said,
right,
this is just saying, like, she highlighted the issue. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was so well done.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And also, the woman's whole career is built on the back of Janet Jackson. If she didn't say anything, that would have been a shame. And I don't say that to slight Britney. I absolutely have nothing against Britney. But if you're going to look at the footage, if we're going to go to the tape, like there's a lot of Janet Jackson in what she's doing. There's almost all of the Janet Jackson is
I was
what she was doing. So,
yeah, real talk.
So, I'm glad that she said anything, but it also just, but I'm sure, like, as soon as that popped up, I'm sure there was a sizable number of her fan base that just blew a gasket and was, oh no, they got to Britney. No one is getting to Britney. Clearly.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I gotta say, one of my favorite memories as a comic is due to Britney Spears. I was in a casino in Connecticut. I was doing a gig at the comedy club. What I forget. I think it was like Foxwoods or something like that.
Yeah. I think so.
And she was performing in the same place like an hour later, but in like the connecting room. So she's got like the theater that sits 15,000. I'm in the club that sits like 200, right? And like my joint empty. Like I got like 70 people coming out to see me tell jokes, and it's all like dads that like dropped off their daughter or like their wives because her range is brawling, and they're just there to see, like, I gotta kill time, B. I ain't watching this show, so I'm here. And we had a good time, but afterward, when I got out and I saw the line to get into her show, I took pictures, no lie, with like 8-9 different Britney impersonators. They're incredible. Such a loving fan base. They were giving me shirts. I never, like, every Britney song I heard is because it was popping when I was like in high school, but like I don't know her stuff like that. They were like, yo, you don't know this one? And they would just start singing the song to me, and then the line would jump into the song. So it would go from like one girl telling me to like 40, 50 people singing in unison to me. It
Wow.
was wild. And so like, yeah, I got way too many pictures on my iPhone with like Britney related stuff because of just one day. Because I couldn't stop taking pictures because of how incredible the outfits were. Like everyone that went to it, I don't know if they put out like a tweet of like, hey, if you bought tickets, one of the rules is you have to wear an outfit that she wore once in her life. I don't know if that's a thing, but they all look like her.
No, they would have just done that anyway.
Okay, I didn't know. I ain't see that. Like
Yeah.
no.
It's like Star Wars and or Star Trek.
Okay, like rappers
You know
don't
what I
do that.
mean?
Like
Or Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, but it's Britney Spears.
okay, like I feel like Cameron should do that. Like I would wear a Cameron outfit to a Dipset concert. Like I would come in.
How many different eras does Cameron have?
Cameron
I
got
feel
a
like
few.
there's pink fur and then there's not pink fur.
No, Shy, you sleeping. You sleeping. You had the Cameron got layers, yo.
Okay.
So I would do it. I would do the overalls that he had from Confessions of Fire. So you don't even know about these. I'll be out there right there with the big sledgehammer and the overalls. I would also do, admittedly, the furs. I did like that era, but the oversized army fatigue with leather that shouldn't go together, but he made it work. I would do that. So yeah, I feel like rappers are missing an opportunity. Like that's what I learned from Britney Spears. Like, hey, dressing up, even if you're in your 30s, is freaking fun. Because I saw all these like women who were my age. I know y'all got jobs, and this is your hobby. This is what they spent their money on. Come in here to dress like Britney and sing along to Britney, which they probably did in their bedroom. I did that to rappers. I did that all the time. I pretended to be all the rappers.
It's precisely the same. I think maybe the issue might be with rappers is that there's not a lot of switching around. Also, the longevity of a rapper's career.
Yes.
Right?
You're right.
So not too many of them have a career that's popping long enough for like extreme eras.
Nah, I hear you. You right.
You know what I mean? Like you have to either have known about them before they were signed to a major label or some shit. And then it's really just like they had on what everybody already was wearing. And then they got a little bit of cash and then they got something super extravagant.
Yeah, okay.
And then they go straight dad, which is basically a modified version of what they were wearing as teens. So like there's that kind of thing. Like I'm curious to see what the somewhat flashiness of right now is going to look like in like 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because can you do rock all of that again in 20 years when there are going to be young people who weren't even born at the time that you were on and popping, and now you're 40 and they're 20 and they're like, ha! What the hell are you doing? Because that's a smack in the face. And no one's really ready for that. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's like when you grew up and everything was in baggy jean time.
Yeah.
And then everything went skinny jean. And you're like, I don't trust it. But now you just look like the old man in baggy jeans.
Damn right I do.
And then when they bring baggy jeans back again, there's going to be something slightly different. So you can't even wear your old baggy jeans because people are still going to know those are the old version of the baggy jean.
Yeah.
Not the new version of the baggy jean. There's a lot to it. So, I mean,
I got to tell you, that hurt a little bit because I saw myself.
I know. Hey, how you think I feel? I was like, hey, we doing baggy jeans again? Oh, no, not this kind? Okay. You know? Like, oh, word? Not my cut? Okay, fantastic. Women go through that all the time. For men, it's only jeans that I can even say in a way that guys will be like, oh, okay. Women, it's a blouse. It's a fucking bras. I mean, the bras that are popular now aren't even the kind because today's young women don't feel like lifting them up. So if you have a high breast or whatever, like if you put underwire on and you lift them bad boys up, people are like, oh, that's so old. And I'm like, yeah, these titties are old. Only young titties can hang the way you think young titties hang.
Leave my support system alone, okay?
Absolutely. Don't get rid of it. Don't get, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's not like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five continued to wear feathers. You know, even Andre 3000 is in a sensible set of overalls.
Yeah.
And they're rolled up over wallabies. I mean, yes, he's walking around with a giant flute and just playing it outside. So the spirit is still with him, but he's not walking around in football shoulder pads anymore as he goes to check his mail, you know?
He's someone that could do the various looks. We got to do like a next, if they ever do get back together, Outcast show, we could do the Andre 3000 looks. He has enough range.
Yeah, he's got the range. I wonder what he would do though. Cause you know, we're about the same age. So it's also like, what do you feel like being strapped up in? You know, how many fasteners do you feel like dealing with?
Yeah, man. Artistic genius in your 30s. You don't realize the price you're going to pay in 20 years. Like, I got to wear that shit on the rerun tour. Like, god damn. Yeah, he had some crazy pants. Like, or like, there's outfits that like I'm thinking of him wearing now. That's like, man, like, there's no way you thought you'd have to wear that at 60 if you needed money. Like, you have to,
right?
You know?
Right. Like, that's why. I mean, that is why when they had that Outcast reunion, he stuck to a simple black jumpsuit with a message stenciled on the front of it. And a white wig and goggles. It still got the point across. Oh, yeah, that's right. This motherfucker dresses crazy without him really having to dress crazy.
Yeah. That's
because, you know, that shit, you don't have to. Who has to keep doing that? I watched the Redman versus Method Man versus last night. And I was just marveling at how I'm watching Method Man dance. You know, and I'm like, these are the skinniest pants I've ever seen him in. And they were in no way. I mean, they were form-fitting pants. They weren't leggings, unfortunately. Wank wonk. What a fine-looking man. But you know, they certainly weren't what was popping off when Wu-Tang.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just wild to see that.
Yeah.
I
was very, very excited and happy with all of that. I thought it went really well.
It was great.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite versus events.
Yeah,
and it was, you know, it makes sense. Their chemistry is incredible. But yeah, like he gives me a lot of hope. Like, because like yo, like that he keeps looking cooler. I don't know how he does it. Like he's definitely old enough now where like you should be like, all right, like, you know, you can stop doing that, you know. But no, he looks cooler than ever doing the things that he does. He finds the right balance of like, oh yeah, I could try that new thing versus I would look ridiculous in that. I'm not doing that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, like the thinner pants was one of them. That's something that like you tell Meth in 98 that he's like, that's ridiculous. I'm not trying that shit.
Yeah, he's like, there's no way I'm wearing no fucking skinny ass pants. Okay.
But he was open to it. He's like, yeah, you know what? I could try that. But I'm sure there's other aspects of like, yo, you want to put like pink beads in your hair? He's like, get the fuck out of my face. No, I don't do that shit.
Yeah, no, that's not. But, you know, at the same time, are we going to see the Meth of today with his hair half cornrowed? Is the Meth of today going to put in contacts that make him look blind? Or was that the equivalent of his fucking furry pants and football shoulder pads?
Yeah, I think that
it kind of was. I mean, you got to be young to do that kind of shit.
My favorite thing about Meth now is like hearing him talk in full-on Wu style about health. You know?
Yo, hearing adult things spoken in a hip hop cadence is the best thing. There was a point during that verses where who was it? Funky Child came out
Yeah.
from Lords of the Underground, and he did his verse,
Yeah.
and they were hype, and he sounds just like the record. Great breath control, all that shit. And then it ended, and then he's like, you know, Red and I, Doc and I, we've been working with the community and we're trying blah blah blah, and that's why I want to announce that I'm running for. And I was like, did this motherfucker just come out, rap his verse, and then announce that he's running for like city council?
That's just awesome.
It was wild. I couldn't stop laughing. He's just like, hey, so, Red and I out here doing things, and that's why I'm running for city council. I got a petition out in the back if you want. I need signatures. Like, what?
Hell yeah. Let's get out there.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful to see.
I love all of that. I and by the same token, I love that Redman is not any of that. Like, Redman is like fully like, nope, I'm still that exact same guy, not changing. I'm just thinner, but everything's still the same.
Which is actually a little dangerous, but he's good. He's still good. But I'm glad that he's not changing, because he was kind of a fully formed dude when younger, and in that he was youthful as hell.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And goofy like a young person, but also kind of like an old person.
Yeah.
And so to see him as an old person still doing and saying goofy shit is just like, well, yeah, no, you've just been this person, not just goofy, but also kind of old for a while.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I feel like I misread it. I thought initially, like, Redman was this, like, super, like, young guy's music. The more I listen to him, I realize he's aged into this guy. Like, he's finally like looking like the guy I've always heard.
And he's been sounding.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, this has been him the whole time. That's why it sounds so dope today. Like, it's just now like matching the image of what I've been hearing the whole time. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Yeah. I love seeing him. I want someone to like flap my cape the way Meth did.
Yo,
that was beautiful.
I swear, I'm telling you, man, that it was. I almost got tears in my eyes. That was so beautiful.
Yeah, legit magic.
That was just like, now that's support. I mean, they're already putting on the show. They already got choreography and shit.
That shit is awesome. So freaking well
Which
done.
is great. But like that whole thing was fantastic. I just love. I'm like, I need people in my life who hype me up like that, and I need to hype up the people in my life like that.
Amen.
Like, it was a real moment of just like, how am I a friend? Am I a friend?
You're a friend, Sha.
I'm doing it right. I need to make sure I'm doing it right.
Oh man. And to any fellas out there that, like, you get awkward when a woman compliments your look, I also want you to look at Meth and learn from that man. That man, I don't know how he does it. He gets compliments from people observing him. He is a physically attractive man. And somehow...
How is he not walking on a bed of panties is beyond me. I feel like everywhere he walks, like him and D'Angelo, there are women just throwing panties constantly.
But like, I'm blown away that like
swatting them bitches away.
Yeah, like I'm blown away that like I feel like it has so little effect on his worldview of him. Like I can't imagine how most guys would change the way they act if that was their reality. Meth still feels like the same dude, whether...
I think it's because he's been with his wife for an extremely long time. Yeah. Yes? And I feel like she takes a moment every day to say, hey, remember, nigga, you ain't shit. And he goes, you right.
True,
and then he goes out into the world.
As we said earlier, support
she
comes
says it
in
with
many
love,
ways.
but I bet she's just like, hey, watch yourself now.
Oh, man. Shouts to Beth. Shouts to Red. Great verses.
Yeah. And also, the person who got us here, shout out to Britney. Thank you for acknowledging our generational trauma.
Word. Oh, man. In other news, wanted to highlight Darnella Frazier, teen with the cell phone and sheer guts, is credited for Derek Chauvin's murder conviction. For those of y'all that don't know, Darnella Frazier, at the time of the George Floyd event, was 17 years old, and she's the young lady who captured the 9-minute footage with the best angle that captured the death of George Floyd. And it's her footage that is mostly credited with the conviction that took place early this week. Major props, like real talk, teenagers be impressing the fuck out of me today. Like,
yeah, they really are.
This is wow. Like the conviction to know that you're seeing something wrong, that you need to document it. Not to put herself in danger at the same time, but be close enough that it's a viable piece of footage. I thought was so freaking dope. And like to see it come full circle for her, like because I know this isn't the first time that this something like this has happened and has been documented. But for a lot of us, this is one of the first times, or one of the few times we've seen where what we saw was, and what we believed to be true, was matched with what the justice system saw. And it's something that's rare for us. And it's in large part due to her being willing to kind of be brave and handle this moment the way that she did. So to get not only that we got to have that as a people this week, but also I was just really happy for her that she was brave enough to have that moment and stand put there, and she got to see it pay off in a way that was positive, and worthwhile, at least, that she got to get justice for this man.
And I hope that I hope that she is taking care of herself.
Yeah.
And that others are taking care of her, because like it's this predicament has been going on in recent years long enough that we know that not only normally do cops not get in trouble for doing what they do, even if they're caught on tape, but that a lot of times the people who are recording get in trouble. Like the young man who recorded Eric Garner.
Right.
Cops found every way possible to lock him up, for being there and recording and having the nerve to do that. And so and that is very scary to know that that's been in the recent past, and yet still hit the red circle on your phone.
Yeah.
Because you know that you're seeing something that is wrong and needs to be captured. And I mean, if it wasn't captured, do you remember the news report that they initially put out?
Yeah, that's actually the next thing I was going to talk about here. Like the headline of that is crazy.
Yeah.
I was blown away by it. The initial headline from the Minneapolis Police Press on May 25th in 2020, reporting the George Floyd murder, it was stated as "Man dies after medical incident during police interaction." Like that's how they headlined the title. That's how they described it. It's still listed like that on their website. That is the most like misleading headline ever of it. And then further in the article, they talk a little bit about the police language that was used in the report, and they're saying that there was no intention of hiding the truth, but the police language that they use is super misleading. It says this is the police report that was filed that day. 2 officers arrived and located the suspect, a male believed to be in his 40s, in his car. He was ordered to step from his car. After he got out, he physically resisted officers. Officers were able to get the suspect into handcuffs and noted that he appeared to be suffering medical distress. Officers called for an ambulance. He was transported to County Medical Center by an ambulance, where he died a short time later. At no time were weapons of any type used by anyone involved in this incident. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension has been called in to investigate this incident at the request of the Minneapolis Police Department. Like, that's verbatim what is said in the police report. that the officers wrote up afterward, and technically not a single lie. Like,
Nope. It's all true. If you choose to not think of a knee on the neck as a weapon,
right?
and if the medical distress, if you don't question where the medical distress came from,
Yeah,
but yeah, so yeah, cops walking that fine line to cover their ass. It gave all the information necessary, but not the information. It was like, this is enough for us to be clear of shit.
yeah,
And so for that young woman to be there and record it, is what also the restraint of all of those people to not jump in. But then again, there's always that restraint, right? Because you don't want to be the next one,
right.
especially if you're watching that happen.
Yeah, it's
And
wild.
that happened. That was going on for such a long time that, that's enough time for you to be like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah,
So, yeah, I hope that she is okay, because and she also had to testify. Um, it's such a what a mess.
yeah,
What a mess, and I hope that she's doing okay. Also, don't believe everything immediately out of the police station. Don't believe all that shit.
yeah.
Don't think that just because a cop is a cop that they're not going to lie. They're absolutely going to lie.
Basically,
Everyone's out here trying to cover their ass. Everyone tells lies all the time just to not, rather than just saying I'm wrong.
yeah. I'm big
People-
on I'm wrong. I do that shit all the time. I've learned that very quickly. It's usually easier to resolve the issue, and it's easier for me to fix and learn from it if I just come out with that quicker. But yeah, apparently they don't teach that at the academy.
No,
No,
not so.
the only you know what I was thinking of though, like real talk, like at some point this young lady's gonna have like a regular job, and like I don't even know how does she do interviews like
Yeah.
like I'm blown away by all of that. Like I was just thinking about all like the regular life things that happen at 18, 19. Like she got to go to like Target to interview for a part-time job. Like I like if I'm her, like I can't even sit through those questions if I'm her. Like why do you want to work here? Like I'm just thinking of like the nonsensical, like the meaninglessness of those questions.
Yeah, of just how we've set up society in general and these bullshit checks and balances.
Yeah.
And she has seen what she's seen and played a major part in this, and then has to go back to like someone yelling at her because apparently the customers are always right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like
she could be getting yelled at like an Old Navy because she unfolds some shit.
Right.
She's gonna go back to that, like real life, like that we go through as we're becoming adults. Despite having played this role, somebody get this lady a scholarship is what I'm saying. Like some university step up, handle that, and try to change.
And also somebody, I don't know if they were doing a GoFundMe, but someone kicking some money for her for therapy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what she's seen is traumatic, but a lot of people have seen a lot of traumatic things and then still had to go finish their shift at Foot Locker,
Word.
and just like swallow that whole. There are a lot of people walking around with untold horrors.
Word.
And, but I mean, these fries ain't going to drop themselves.
Yeah, it's the truth.
I got spreadsheets that need finishing.
Yeah.
So it's it's kind of a nightmare. This is all really just kind of a nightmare.
But
And I hope that she is, finding help in however way that she needs help and however she wants help
Real talk.
in order to, help her get it through and help others get through this.
Yeah. No, man.
It's so much.
Really wild, man. Thank you so much though for what you did, Darnella Frazier. Much appreciated. Again, just want to shout out the names when they matter. Make sure that they get acknowledgement for their sacrifices and work. Related news, Raiders owner Mark Davis takes responsibility for the Raiders tweeting out, "I can breathe." My God.
Yo, when I saw that tweet, I screenshot it so quickly because I was like, there's no way
Yo,
this is going to be up. By the time I refresh the screen on my phone, this is going to be gone because this is such a horrible move.
yeah.
But nope.
Nah, that shit lingered, yo. He also said the post won't be deleted. That's right. Las Vegas owner Mark Davis took responsibility for an insensitive graphic the team account tweeted after former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted of the murder of George Floyd on Tuesday. He said the "I can't breathe" wording came from George Floyd's brother, who said, "Today we are able to breathe again." He misused it while paraphrasing. Davis said, "If I offended the family, then I'm deeply, deeply disappointed." He also said the post won't be deleted in order to allow people to see that he is owning his mistake.
Not that he's sorry. He's not deeply, deeply sorry if he offended the family. He's disappointed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm disappointed that you're unable to get past that.
Yeah. I don't even think he's putting on. I think he's like, yo, I'm disappointed in the people I hired to not make me look like this. This dude's
no, because he's doubling down. And he's like, oh no, I'm not going to delete it.
Billionaires.
And just by saying, but no, I got that from his brother. And it's like, hey man, his brother was referring to the family, not to George Floyd. So when you are saying that, it looks like you are quoting something that or it's the same thing as like not to the same extent, but it's definitely the same kind of misstep as there were people out there, mostly a lot of politicians, people in public office who were saying things like, well, George Floyd died for the city, and the city has seen justice. George Floyd did not die for the city. No, he was killed by a policeman.
Right.
That's not the same as dying for the what? That doesn't even make sense. So to kind of do this kind of weird mental gymnastics of like, well, he died so that we could learn how to hold one cop accountable for his actions.
Jeez.
And I'm like, that's a lot. I feel like we could have just started holding cops accountable, and George wouldn't have had to do all of that. I can't imagine that he thought that was his calling enough. So, there were a lot of missteps by a lot of people on that front after the verdict was announced. So this felt like that. And I just feel like trying to remix something that somebody said in a moment of like when someone said something in a moment of pain or terror or hurt, to try and remix it to go the other way,
right?
Like is wild to me.
Yeah,
especially if it's not like some sort of speech. I know people make fun of, poke fun of, say, the "I have a dream" speech or things like that. But like this is something that a man said, towards the end of his life. Also, he wasn't the only one who said it. Many other people who have been choked out by cops have said this, and that's a problem. So for you to be like, hey, we found this guy guilty, so it's like he would be saying, I can breathe. No, but he's gone.
Yeah.
Like, what are you not getting? So also if you're going to be that hard-headed, of course you're going to be hard-headed enough to be like, well, I'm not taking it down. And most importantly, when did the Raiders go to Las Vegas? When did that happen? I think that's really the part that's got me like, the fuck?
Yeah, the thing is, shot, this wouldn't have happened in LA. They would
No
have had at
way.
least like one black person in one of these departments. Like this is
I mean, something fucked up would have happened. Because I mean, they still have you can have a black person in one black person in every department, but it's still going to be the clueless. Like
yeah,
this kind of cluelessness is a little bit par for the course.
this is wild.
But they would have deleted it.
Yeah, like yo, somebody thought of this. They were like, yeah, that's cool. They presented it at a meeting. Like I've been in corporate. They was like, yo, this is the shit I think we should say. They were like, and at least 4 people agreed. They were like, yeah, that makes sense. Then and this is on email. This is an email chain of 4 people. Then they were like, yo, we should get on Zoom to make sure this is the best one. So then they talked about it. Then they were like, yup, that's the winner. Let's send it to graphics. We need images. Someone looked at the email chain, saw 4 different people talking about this all day, and they say, yup, I'm going to draw that out. That makes sense. All of these things are happening on a computer. Nobody knows how to use Google in this whole freaking company. Like, I'm just blown away. Like, I'm thinking of how many people are involved in the email chain for stuff like this to happen. And nobody was like, yo, we should look into this, see if...
Yeah. Because I'm looking here, apparently, Davis said he wasn't aware that NYPD supporters wore I Can Breathe shirts following the 2014 killing of Eric Garner. After that was brought up to him, he said, I learned something. I have to do a little bit more research into that just so I can speak coherently on that aspect. Let me say right off the bat, I was not aware of that. Absolutely not. I had no idea of that. That's a situation I was not aware of. I can see where that could be some negativity towards what I said based on that. Yeah, or you think now that you know something that was very easy to Google?
Yeah. Cause that's the thing, like, I fully believe he didn't know. That sounds genuine. I fully believe he wished he didn't say it. I don't believe that he wishes he didn't hurt them, because I don't think he's connected to that at all. This is just him doing what he felt was right for his brand. But in that attempt, when you come up with a phrase, it's not like you were like searching like negative things related to I Can't Breathe. You came up with a phrase, I Can Breathe. So all you literally had to do was type that in to Google. That's it. You ain't have to type in negative things connected and be like, oh, we missed that one. You came up with one. So just type in that phrase. You know, when I come up with like a name for something, I check to see if someone else has done it first.
That's the thing. There are so many people, especially rich folks, who are in charge of something, who think that their every thought is wild original and that no one's ever thought it before.
Oh my God.
So it never would have occurred to him to check I Can Breathe, because I bet he thought he was killing it with that. Like, I bet he thought, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna get him with this. I'm gonna get him. And it's just like, that's not even you just omitted a letter. Like, what do you mean? You didn't even, there's no sea change.
Yo.
Like, that's a very easy thing to say. It's the most obvious thing to say.
Facts.
Saying the opposite of the thing is the most obvious thing to say. So to say it and then go, I'm a genius, go on and hit send on that is wild to me. He says, when he was asked why he still would not delete the tweet after learning why the phrase was problematic, he said he's not into, quote, erasing something, end quote, adding he's not embarrassed by what he said. See what I mean? He's too rich to be embarrassed.
These people.
And he thinks everything he says is precious, so why erase it? Everything I say is important.
I delete my shit all the time. You know.
I should delete my stuff more, but all my stuff is important, Gastor.
Good. Oh, man. Yo, real talk, as a like society, every now and then we gotta decide to like not call out when people do dumb shit the second they do it. Like, just let's see how far they go. Like, I feel like if we would have kept quiet on this, on God, this dude would have rolled out T-shirts on the Raiders website. You know what I mean? Like, he would have had like, yo, I Can't Breathe. He would have had a commercial made yo, just so you know, the Las Vegas Raiders support George Floyd's family. I can't breathe shirts. 5% of
Yeah.
proceeds going, like, he does some nonsense like that. 95% still going to us though. But you know, I know you would have had some bullshit, and we could have just like built up a whole argument on why this dude, you know, don't.
Yeah, that's true. We could have let him rock a little bit longer, but we're on Twitter all the time, so when we see it, we got to be like, "Hey, bruh, what's happening?"
Oh man, freaking billionaires! All these, and they come up with all these like ideas. I wish one of them like just heard the lotion like over and over again. Billionaires are the driest looking people.
I want everyone to look up the president, this guy Davis.
Yeah.
Look him up and look for a picture of him with no hat on, for him in his haircut. It is, I swear to you, the wildest shit I've ever seen. It's one of the worst. I mean, it is truly one of the worst haircuts I've ever seen. And I grew up in the 80s where every child had a rat tail.
Yo, I really think it's like
white and black.
You get a billy, you got to go to Supercuts. All right?
Yeah.
Is what it is, B.
I know from shitty haircuts, but this is by far the shittiest. And I wonder, because when you get to a certain age, you've decided this is how my hair is going to look, and this is how I'm going to rock it. This is how it looked its best,
right?
And I'm just going to roll with that, So that's why you still see like women in their 80s with bangs,
right?
Because when they were younger and they had bangs, they were slaying out here.
Okay.
So why change it?
Hey, big facts.
Got it. I totally understand. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what you look like as a young woman when you were really out here in these streets. I can't think of any time in anyone's life that haircut was a good look. At any time. There's no way he was slinging puss in the streets with that haircut, old or young. As a child, he would have gotten teased. There's no time that haircut looked good.
Nobody's swiping right on that nonsense.
Not at all. So, I mean, it's wild. And again, if anyone could just kind of give me an idea as to when the Raiders ended up in Las Vegas, I'd really appreciate it.
Oh man, I love it. The U.S. May soon reach a tipping point on COVID-19 vaccine demand. Here's why it's concerning. The U.S. health officials race to get more COVID-19 shots in arms to control the virus. Experts now warn the country will run into another challenge in the next few weeks. The vaccine supply will likely outstrip the demand. The timing might differ from state to state, but they estimate that across the U.S. as a whole, we'll likely reach this tipping point of vaccine enthusiasm over the next 2 to 4 weeks. Health officials, including Dr. Fauci, estimate that somewhere between 70 and 85% of the country needs to be immune from the virus, either through inoculation or previous infection, to suppress its spread. So far, roughly 40.1% of the population has gotten at least one of the vaccine dosages, according to data, and about 26% is fully vaccinated. So yeah, get out there, people.
Hey, yeah, I'm not saying go back and get a second vaccine. Like, don't do that. It's too soon. But like, if everyone who wants it gets it, and then there are the folks who don't, I don't know what we can do. I mean, like I say damn near every week, these fucking remixes, y'all, these variants, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
And we don't know how what they're giving us is going to fight them because they're all brand new. But how do you talk someone into getting a vaccine if they don't want to get one? Free will and all that jazz.
Listen,
so
I was in LA this week, Sha, and I had to stay in a hotel. And it was wild seeing the convergence of people from all over the country and how they handled like simple things like the mask and all that. Like, you could tell where they came from based on how they dealt with people in public. Like, I was like on some real shit, I was semi like traumatized a lot the first day. Like people
I
were
believe
like
it.
way too close to me on a regular basis. When I would pause, I don't know what, I didn't say a word, but I constantly had to be giving away the energy of I'm scared of you. Because people would see me and instantly apologize and say, "Oh, my bad, I got a mask." And I didn't say anything. They just instantly saw it. And then all but one of them, whenever that happened, would instantly also add on, "I hate this mask shit." Like, I'm like, I hear you, but I'm bigger than you, so put the fucking mask on. You know what I mean? But like, it was just wow to me to like see that convergence of like realities and perceptions of where we are with what's happening. Um, and mind you, just being frank, I don't know that I know, the right stuff either. I'm just basing it off of what the science experts are telling me. But I feel like that's what we do in life. Like, you wanna know how to order a really good sandwich from a corner store in East New York, Brooklyn? Talk to me. I got you all day. I promise you I'm better than most across the country. You know what I mean? That's what I do. I know how to do that. I've become an expert there. And I trust that, when I need to get my car fixed, the mechanic knows more than me. I pay him for that. I got to trust the science people when they tell me, "Hey, I need this needle shot." So I'm blown away that like as a group, we like a large portion of this country is like, nah. Like it just trips me up. Like you work 40 hours a week to become really good at stocking shelves, and you crush that shit. This dude's been working 40 hours a week for 12 years for this moment. Like this is what they worked for. It's the same equivalent. Like whatever your regular job is, you were dope at that. This is their regular job. They're dope at that. Just by a matter of putting in the time. So why ain't you trusting that dude? I go to Home Depot. Every now and then I get mad at somebody. Sure, he's new. He don't know where the hammers are. But the majority of the dudes there, after a year, they kind of point you in the right direction. Even if they are indifferent to the job, they learn. So
Right.
that's how I feel about scientists. I'm not saying all of them care about you specifically, but I think Fauci def cares about people. And I feel like as a community, I feel like scientists are giving us the best information they have. Then
Yeah. I mean, Fauci's damn near going door to door.
he trying. Like,
He really
he
is.
really out there. Like my man doing podcasts with 4 people. He doing radio
Right.
shows. My man on ham radio. Like he just driving on trailers.
Ham radio.
He talking to people. Like what I gotta do, man. He's sending post-it notes. He's sending out like little crawled up notes in classrooms, throwing out spitballs to people. Read this. Everything that man could do to spread the message, he's doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody
Yeah.
going that hard for the anti-vax thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, if someone's that adamant that I need to take the shot, I'm gonna listen. And I don't see
Right.
even I know there's anti-vaxxers in general, but none of them dudes go this hard about the flu. So why y'all going this hard about something that's supposedly more dangerous? If if you've been following along, you gotta at least say that. You might not think it's wildly dangerous, but you have to agree that it's more dangerous than the flu. And enough for y'all to take the flu shots. As a society, we've agreed on that. Yeah, you know what? That makes sense. I'm gonna get that shot. But
Right.
why we fighting this one? I don't get it, shot. I'm really stumped.
I don't. I don't know. I mean, I get the fear of like, what is this medicine going to do, and all of that kind of stuff. But I mean, I put a lot of bullshit in my body, just off rip. I have a taste testing show. We ate 10 different types of Cheez-Its
Highlight of
last
my week,
week.
shot, was watching that shit. It was amazing.
Like, so I mean, yeah, I guess just give me the vaccine, man. What, I already have something that I was born with that can kill me.
Right.
Hypertension that I am having to take care of already, and literally all I'm doing is breathing and that shit is still in me, yeah, go. I mean, let's see what the vaccine can do.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not saying they get it right often either, but like whenever I seen rich white communities cheat their way into getting some, it's usually because that thing
Right.
is good. You know, people want to cheat their
Yep.
way into sending their kids into Harvard. Makes sense. That shit changes your future. I saw a lot of zip codes trying to figure out loopholes to make sure they got this shit first. You know, I'm in East New
Yeah.
York, Brooklyn. My neighborhood was one of the last ones to get normal access to this in New York. So that told me, oh, this is dope. This gotta be like cocaine with none of the negatives. You know, like I don't know, like it's something great in terms of the feeling or something. But if they're all fighting for it, I want some of this too.
Right. Exactly. That seems fair.
So yeah,
That absolutely seems fair.
that's my logic. Get step your game up, people. With that said, the CDC vaccine advisors will meet this week to discuss the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The advisors of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention will meet on Friday to make recommendations of the use of Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine after the hold to investigate a potential link to serious blood clots was done. The apparently after members they said they need more information about the J&J vaccine, but the general perception is that they are going to eventually say they should continue to use it and just present, like that there is an added risk with using this shot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. It was what, six women out of 6 million people.
Yeah, now it's 7 out of 8 million. So one more person, but the odds are getting better.
Right. Yeah. So there's that. I mean, it seems like what we now need to do is just print up a new list of possible side effects. And it's okay to add it because always a possible side effect of every medicine is possible death.
Yeah.
Like death is already listed as a possible side effect. So if we didn't have these blood clots on before, let's have them on now.
Hey.
And know that that's a possibility. And women, watch out, much like you have to do with your birth control pills. Oh, which, that's a 1 in 1,000 chance of getting blood clots.
Yeah.
With that. Yeah, all of this shit. I mean, look, it's all just Windex that they're putting in a cauldron somewhere and then cooking it up like pills. Like, I don't know what any of this shit is.
Hey.
No one ever does. And I mean, if you're watching TV and you see all these commercials for these things that take care of stuff that I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a problem.
Right.
And so like, but they got catchy songs and they're showing people dressed in white pants getting on a boat and shit. And yeah, all of it, it's all extremely chancy. But like this vaccine is helping us like stave off something that could completely wipe us out.
Yeah.
Like completely. So I don't know why you wouldn't give it a shot. But yeah, no, they're probably going to just add it with the new and add the blood clots to the list. I think this was, I don't remember. I think it was blood clots with AstraZeneca in Europe.
Yeah.
And they stopped that for a while. And then what's her name? Angela Merkel.
Okay.
Angela Merkel in Germany. She got the AstraZeneca just to show, hey, it's okay.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. I mean, you do you. I still would have tried to look for another one, but okay. I mean,
hey,
you are a woman in power. I appreciate you doing that. So
this is my logic. Like, real easy to me is like roughly 30 to 32 million people have gotten COVID in the U.S. and a little under like 600,000 people have died related to it. So that's like 16 people out of a million, so like We could go to 1 for every million with the shot, or 16 out of a million without the shot. I feel like that makes sense. And that's only if you're somebody that don't like needles and wants to insist on getting just 1 shot. You get 2 shots, that even gets lower. I feel like it's basic.
Yeah.
The War Report is now a math podcast. We are teaching.
Oh no! Oh no! Don't let them do. Don't let them do this, America. I'm not ready for this.
Oh man! Biden calls for businesses to give paid time off. I could have just ended the article there. I'd have been happy. Yeah, that's great. And whatever the reason, sure.
Fantastic. I'll take it.
Paid time off for employees to get vaccinated, as he touts 200 million shots. They are on pace. They are, as of Wednesday, touting the anticipated milestone of the U.S. administering 200 million coronavirus vaccine shots since he took office, and urged businesses to give their employees paid time off to get vaccinated. As part of the call for the time to get vaccinated, Biden announced a new tax credit to fully offset the cost for small businesses and nonprofits providing paid leave for employees to get vaccinated. I love it. You know what I mean? Putting his money where his mouth is right here. Go get your shots. I'll give you your bread back. My bad. I agree.
I mean, I do hope that companies will do that, or that they won't just take the tax credit and then just be like, sorry, you're gonna have to do it on your own time.
Word.
That would suck. Also, I mean, I wish we can figure this out for voting.
Yeah, you're right. Fair.
That's a big part of voting. And I've worked at places where you're supposed to get like an hour off to vote.
Right.
And I'm still like, well, that's not going to be enough unless I live and work in the same place.
Right.
Like I got to go back over to where I live in order to vote and then come back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But and even in some of those places that I've worked where they're like, yeah, we'll give you an hour to vote on voting day. When I'm like, okay, I'm going to need that hour. They're like,
You for real? You calling us out on that?
Do you need all 60 minutes at once? Yes. What are we doing?
You can't have vote in the morning and have vote after work?
Oh, yeah. Like, no.
Oh man, you can't even be like, y'all vote at lunch. If you in Atlanta, you get tackled for that shit. You know what I mean? You kicked off the line and somebody bring you a sandwich while you over there.
You can, oh my goodness. I think I was voting once and an alarm went off on my phone. I thought they were going to drag me out by my hair. Who is that? Turn that off. And I'm like, I'm not cheating. It's an alarm. What are you doing?
Who's sending me answers?
Like, yeah. Like,
what do you think's happening here? Oh man.
They're so serious.
Homes in black neighborhoods are undervalued by $46,000 on average. Wild. For nearly a decade, homes sold in mostly black neighborhoods have been undervalued by an average of $46,000, according to a Redfin analysis released on Wednesday. Redfin, a nationally discount real estate brokerage, examined the valuations of more than 73 million single-family homes listed and sold between January of 2013 and February of 2021, and found a major gap between houses sold in black and white neighborhoods. Yo, that's wild. Like,
yeah,
this blew my mind. Like this, because every single argument that like you could have against a study, they like, nope, we checked it. Is it an authority figure that knows what they're talking about? Yeah, Redfin, this is literally their business, so they're qualified to do this study. Is it a long enough period of time? Yeah, they covered 8 years. Is it recent? Until last month. Was it enough homes in the study? 73 million. So I think all of them, whatever was sold, they checked in on that shit. Like, that is what they made sure this was thorough and covered, literally as many single homes as possible that were listed on the site. This is just like tying into, I never thought I would say this, Britney Spears' point from earlier.
Yeah, you never forget the first time you say to yourself, "Well, this ties into Britney Spears' point about."
Oh my goodness, that is wow. That is mind blowing. But yeah, it ties in a lot to that, like the idea of generational wealth. Like this is it right here. Where even now, when supposedly the playing field is being made even, we can buy property. It's still not being valued in the same way. This hits home for me in particular, Shaq, because I'm in East New York is famous for in real estate because it's one of like the neighborhoods that was most affected by like blockbustering. So like when the community was mostly like Italian, they essentially like did like weird things with like the housing market where the banks told Italian immigrants who were like, hey, we've been working hard. We've been living here for about a decade. We want to move to a better neighborhood. They basically told them, well, black people are moving into your neighborhood, so your houses aren't worth as much. So they bought them for less. And then when black immigrants were coming into the neighborhood, they were like, oh, well, you're moving to an Italian neighborhood, so those homes are worth more. And just like constantly like jerked them in terms of mortgages and home prices.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's something that affected two communities gravely. So yeah, it really like hits home to me because like it's something that affects the wealth of everyone that lives here now, like and in turn like what they could charge for rent, what their homes are worth, their abilities to move up. So this stuff is sad just because I know it's not just a local problem. It's something that's happened throughout the country. And shouts to Redfin for like, pointing this out. Nobody was looking for this info. I don't know what made them look into this, but thank you.
I mean, you just kind of, well, I tell you what would make you look into it is because this has kind of always been the situation, but especially like if you just came out of a real estate like crash.
Yeah.
Right? So that has happened. That's what, like 2008?
Yeah.
I think that happened.
Right.
So we're looking like 5 years later. If you're like, well, let's see how this is looking 5 years later for people who were disproportionately affected by that crash.
Right.
Because they were the ones that were sold these shitty mortgages. So that's probably how it started. And then everything being so volatile and the stuff that like that we all started, that a lot of people started to learn based on, COVID, breaking everything and shining a light on so much. That's probably why they were just like, yeah, let's just keep an eye on this. Let's just see how it's looking. Like how, how things are, if there's any sort of change, if there's any sort of rebound from the damage that was done from those subprime mortgages.
Right.
Is probably why they started looking into it.
Yeah, because
in 5 years would be like, yeah, let's see if anyone's bounced back. No, motherfucker, ain't nobody bounced back.
Yeah, and like if you're in this industry, like this fucks with you because it's like, I did the same work to sell that house. Like, why is it worth 40 racks less? You cut into my commission, like.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I fully get it. Like, it's wild. And just to put it out there, some of the things they mentioned in the article, to kind of protect yourself. Anytime a home appraiser covers a home that you're looking at and you feel that they're doing differences based on neighborhoods, even though the homes are similar, make them have to be fully transparent in the paperwork. So they should cover the condition of home appliances, the quality of the upgrades that were made, any architectural features should be fully written about. An appraiser has to justify why two similar homes have different valuations. So you have a right to ask those questions and make them not just tell you verbally, but write it down in the document And furthermore, if you feel you are being discriminated against as a person of color, meaning, you're looking for a home and a realtor is showing you things that are in a neighborhood that you aren't looking at, or they're purposely keeping you out of a neighborhood, you have a right to file a complaint with the Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, and obviously find another realtor because that dude is trash.
And those are good suggestions as to things to do. Other recommendations are, if you're a person of color, take all evidence of your life away. So any pictures of anybody black or brown,
Yeah.
anything like that. Maybe have a white friend put up some pictures. That is bullshit, but it also sadly works.
Yeah.
I've read articles about that.
Yeah, it's trippy. Like switch it up from from anyone with our names. Like if instead of Shalewa, just Mary is showing
Yeah.
the home, and it has a different value. Same exact home. It's freaking wild. So just keep your heads up out there. Secure the bag, as I like to say. 46 racks is a lot of money to lose out on. That's when you're in New York and you're retiring to Florida, that's the house right there. That's the whole house you could have bought right there with 46 racks, depending on where you move to. And they just stole
Yeah.
that from me. You know what I mean? Like, that's just wild to me. Like, yo, you just stole a little, like a tiny house from me, but a house. That's a condo in Florida.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't mind me as a homeowner. That really pissed me off, Sha.
No, I get it. I mean, like I hope to get something, some sort of property. Not here in New York. This place is crazy. But probably, in Atlanta, although that place is becoming exceedingly crazy as well. But I also know I know the rhythms of Atlanta.
Okay.
And they can't keep this up for long.
Yeah.
They're already shooting themselves in the foot with various voting things, and losing shit. And everybody wants to change stuff constantly. Nothing ever stays. There's no sense of history there. I don't know if you want to blame Sherman and him torching the city or what, but I feel like they rip up all kinds of stuff. So, I'm familiar with their rhythms, but it's still hard to think of where to go and buy property.
Yeah.
It may be a wild thing where I'm going to end up in the part of town of Atlanta that I grew up in, which when we first moved out there had a mostly white population.
Yeah.
And then as we were there, we watched white flight happen.
Oh.
And then the neighborhood was downgraded as such, and is now, as people are moving into the city and folks who were already there being priced out, they're starting to move out into the suburbs. And it's like, oh, so I might just end up where I grew up.
Yo.
Because it's still just barely affordable enough.
Full circle.
Until it becomes a cool little neighborhood and the gentrification starts. And to be a part of gentrification in Stone Mountain is wild.
Yo.
Because I was like, oh, wow. What? Wait, white people are moving into Stone Mountain? For that to be novel, yeah, white folks are moving into Stone Mountain. Can you believe it? And I would be like, yeah, I can. Because they were there when we got there.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, it's wild, but those are the rhythms. Those are the rhythms of Atlanta, the rhythms of cities where you're seeing just the ebb and flow of stuff, and then still to think that it may not matter because I'm still just a black person trying to get a home.
Yeah.
So it may not even matter where I go if they're just going to shave shit off the top immediately.
Yeah.
As to how much it's worth, but even no matter how much I pay, which I'm sure they'll be adding stuff to for reasons like, you look like you're going to put a lot of African baskets up. Well, we got a surcharge for that or some shit.
Oh man, that's funny and scary all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, industry, buy our pilots, all right? So we don't got to do this nonsense no more. Cash Shalewa on the
Please.
show, some shit. All right.
Please.
That's all we asking for. Finally, in just weird news, a new way to pay at Whole Foods. Scan your palm. Amazon will let customers at some Whole Foods stores pay with the simple wave of their hands. The company announced Wednesday it is bringing palm scanners to one of its Whole Foods stores in Seattle, with plans to roll out the new payment system to 8 stores in the Seattle area in the coming months. Customers will hold out their hands above a scanner for a contact-free payment method. The scanners are already available at one of those Seattle stores. Amazon plans to expand the availability further after this initial run. So yeah,
No.
this is wild, yo.
No. Stop it. Stop it.
Oh,
Like, we just gonna lay back and let the singularity happen? That's what we gonna do.
yo, I thought it was just me bugging. I was like, yo, I felt already weird earlier this year when they were trying to do that, like, that health wristband thing that, like, gave them too much information. They were like, oh, we want to know if your blood type, how you, like,
I don't even know my blood type. Why am I going to tell it to some company?
Yeah, I'm like, why you need all this? I'm just trying to buy, like, cheap kitchen supplies from you. Like, you don't need to know all this information, Amazon. And now you want to know my palm print? My palm print, and you going to connect
I don't
it to
even
my
unlock my phone with my face.
Yeah. This is true. I type in all them digits every time.
Every time. You going to get this password.
Seriously. So you telling me someone's okay with connecting my palm print, the credit card, my food purchases, what I eat, and what I buy for my home through that's too much info for one company to know. And my favorite TV shows. I feel vulnerable.
Here's the thing. You can already put all that shit together. You don't need my hand to do it. You know what I mean? Track do your own fucking legwork.
Serious.
Why am I having to give you shit? Y'all the big company. Y'all got all the money. Fucking follow the receipts.
Serious.
If I'm so important that you need to know all that shit about me, do the work. Woo me. Don't just expect me to give you my hand.
Take me on a date. God damn it.
Yeah.
This just felt like a violation to me. I can't co-sign this at all. I don't know. I'm impressed that it's possible, but like this just felt like Jeff was at a mixer or some shit, and he was like, "Yo, these dudes, they'll do whatever the fuck I tell them for $129 a year. Watch this shit. I'm gonna tell them they gonna pay with their palms. They gonna give me all that data, and they gonna think I'm doing it for them. These dudes, I promise you, it's just him just bragging, saying, watch me. By next year, I'm gonna have them paying by doing eye scans. They won't even know. Like it's trippy because he gets your information and makes you think it's a benefit. I don't know. It's freaking brilliant. Like, but I hate that he's like such an evil mastermind. He is like, to me, like homeboy from Superman, Lex Luthor. He is him for real.
No, that's precisely what he's like. But I'm not the kid. I'm not doing that shit.
I can't.
There's no way. That's because they already have those stores where there are scanners everywhere. And so when you pick up something and put it in your cart, they already know it's you because I don't even know how they do that. What do you have, like a barcode or something? But you've already signed in and you just kind of walk out with the thing.
Yeah, they got that in the city.
They've got that. And I went into one of those with a friend of mine who was returning something.
Yeah.
And, he went in and returned it. And he was just like, yeah, I could just pick this up and walk out with it. And then, I'll pay for it later. And I was just like, I don't trust this. This all feels like a trap. I can't think of this is the biggest trap. How did none of y'all see that?
I'm telling you, they coming after us, man. Jeff Bezos.
They're coming. They've already put the things in your house. And now y'all just asking this robot to turn your lights on? No.
Can't.
No. I refuse. I refuse.
Shut it down. Don't be part of the system unless that
Don't do it.
system is
Fucking just
taking your
go ahead
shots.
and like just scrape off your fingerprints.
Yeah, all of that.
Do what you got to do. Burn them off, but don't let Bezos do this.
He don't need that. He don't need that info.
He does not need that info.
He tricked us.
There are many, he needs a clue, but he doesn't need that info. He needs to chill is what he needs.
Really, sincerely. He should, it also, anytime somebody starts too innocent, man, I knew something's wrong. He, the first few years, he was like, oh, I'm just trying to help people get books. Nah, look at this motherfucker. Now we can't stop him.
Also, I don't know if you've ever heard Jeff Bezos laugh. It is terrifying. It's terrifying. It's like a honk. Just like a sudden it's not. I don't recommend it, but crazy laughter.
Yeah,
that's a key. And crazy laughter isn't necessarily loud laughter. You can be a loud laugher, and it's not crazy.
Yeah,
you know it when you hear it.
Yeah.
Who's the ball player who has was that Kyrie?
What about, I don't know.
Who has the weird laugh?
Kawhi. Kawhi has the.
That's Kawhi.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
He has a great laugh.
And you're like, the minute everyone heard it, everybody was like, huh? That's what Jeff Bezos' laugh will do to you. You're just like, yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, work on your laughs, people. Life advice from Shalewa Sharpe. Work on your laugh. That's right. It'll get you accepted in places. If you want tips on your laughs, real easy. All you got to do is rate us on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. We will.
You're getting so good at these. I'm like, is he practicing them in the shower? How is he getting so good at these?
Oh, man. If you like the show, please like and subscribe. Check us out if you have any news articles you want us to cover. Please DM us directly at Silky Jumbo, at Gastor Almonte, at Twitter, on Instagram. Either or works. With all that said, my name is Gastor Almonte, always with the homie Shalewa Sharpe. This has been another War Report. Catch y'all next week. Peace.